right, Joey82 says, what skill do you think Kingsbury needs to work on and improve the most for him to lead Tech to long-term success? He said, for example, like 9+ wins or a top 3 finish in Big 12. They are so far from that right now. It's hard for me to explain. I did try to in the rapid fire that, you know, they're not only just losing 6 games a year basically in the Big 12, but they're losing it by more than 2 touchdowns. Every loss in the Big 12. So to the non-Kansases and pre-Matt Campbell, Iowa States, or Baylor post-Art Briles kind of teams, they're losing by more than 2 touchdowns. So it's not really that close at all. I would say recruiting is definitely up there, Joe, but even worse than that, the fact that they struggle so much to see what's going on during the game. Certain things, the ebb and flow of things that happen in the game, the stopping running the ball when you're just totally dominating them in Morgantown, the not knowing the delayed blitz from Malik Jefferson against Texas in 2016 was that, which is really the sole reason why you lost that game. You were a better team than them that season. Those kind of things, Kansas State running off the clock 42 seconds. To me, that's the biggest obstacle, is really Kingsbury as a strategist, as a head coach in game.
Yeah, that's a good one, no question about it. You know, I worry about this because, I mean, the time for improving were those first 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he was the young coach, right? Yeah. And you expect that he's going to have some growing pains, sure, but after 5 years, he's going to be getting it. Yeah. You know, you're going to see a payoff in the win-loss column. Instead, you're looking at 6 and 6. So the worrisome thing is the idea that maybe he has maxed out as a head coach, that he's not going to improve. All right.
Joe, you just took it to a whole other level.
Yeah, I know. But listen, let's go ahead and give him the benefit of the doubt and say that it's still possible, that he could improve.
Yeah.
The one area that I would like to see, and I don't know if he's capable of doing this because maybe it's just not who he is, but I just want to see some passion from the guy, you know, some fire.
You had that in the beginning of the season. Remember that?
Right.
Like Arizona State and all, you know, the beginning, and then it just was like gone.
Yeah.
After Houston or something, it was weird.
Right. I mean, you know, the thing is, he says a lot of the right things. I mean, if you're not actually listening to him, but you look at the transcript from the press conferences, everything, it sounds like, oh, well, that's pretty enthusiastic. You know, that's maybe a little bit fiery. But when you see it in person, you know, it's like, man, maybe he just needs to like pound down a bunch of Red Bulls and some habanero salsa before he does like recruiting meeting with the recruits or press conferences or something like that, something to generate some obvious passion. Because I mean that's something you really need. If you don't, then that kind of permeates the entire program, and then everybody's kind of lethargic. And you know, I just think that this program needs some pep, and that comes from the top, and that's something that maybe he needs to work on.
You know, I've said this before and I'll say it again. The thing about Kingsbury that's so perplexing is that, like, if you're with him one-on-one, he is such like an interesting like conversationalist. Like, you know, he's an incredibly bright guy, likable person, and then he gets in a group and he's just like, whoop, he just like shuts it down, goes robot, and which is really, you know, at this point, like for us in the position we're in with the site, like we don't, like press conferences, okay, you know, we're not going to get anything. It's not a big deal. We have our sources at this point. So that's what most people pay for on the site, is the sources, the behind the veil kind of stuff, not what everybody else has access to. But it would be nice just for him and the program to kind of, but I don't think, you don't want to force it. You don't want it to be fake. You know what I mean? I think he is what he is, you know? I think though on the sidelines though, during the games for the team, if he could do kind of what he was or be how he was in the beginning of the season, I think it would help the team. I think it would help them win, because I think it did help them in those games. So we'll see. Redvitter KA wants to know, where do you see Texas Tech football in 5 years? Is Kliff still here and finally having figured things out where they're kind of like the next Oklahoma State, or is Tech battling Kansas for last place in the Big 12? 5 years is a long time. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, it is. Sure. I mean, anything. Predicting 5 years out, that's tough, man. 2 years is kind of the max as far as I'm concerned. But you know, I mean, look, we've seen 5 years. You know, we've seen kind of the record and the product on the field after 5 years. And then when Kirby Hocutt goes in and basically says that 500 is good enough. You know, if his standards are that low, then why should anybody else's expectations be higher than his standards?
That's where I think the first question you have to, I'm sorry to interrupt you, the first question you have to answer, since we're talking about hypotheticals 5 years later, is do you think Kirby Hocutt will be here?
Well, yeah, I mean,
if he wants to be, but do you think he will be?
I think as long as there's no pressure on him to leave, I don't see him going anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't sense a whole lot of fire or a rebellion brewing to change course, you know? And so, yeah, I think he's probably here 5 years from now. And unless the leopard changes its spots, then I think we're looking 5 years from now, basically at what we're looking at right now.
Jeez. I think this is a hypothetical. I haven't had a conversation with Kirby Hocutt about it. Not that he would tell me anyways, that's for sure. But I think he has higher aspirations than to be here 5 years from now. Not to put Tech down. I think, not that he would go to another school necessarily and be an athletic director, but just another position, kind of climbing the ladder of, you know, his life, his self-actualization. And I think once he's gone, Kingsbury's gone. So I don't think any athletic director would keep him, to be honest, with the current results. So I don't see Kingsbury here in 5 years. Now, who that will be after that, there's no way of telling. Who knows? From year to year, that's difficult to broadcast or to come up with. So I have no idea. But I tell you what, I will give Kirby Hocutt a lot of credit as far as he has upgraded the facilities. Now, 5 years from now, will these be considered old and outdated? I don't know. You know, will UT have already upgraded their facilities once or twice since then? I don't. You know, even though they just did, maybe. So we'll just have to see about that. All right, Mighty Joe, we're finally to our weekly food question. This one's from Mr. Mustafa Mon. He says, your favorite fast food joint not named Whataburger. And that's hard because I know you want to say Whataburger, and you pretty much don't eat fast food.
Not as much as I used to, man. You know, I used to love Arby's.
Yeah.
Really used to love.
They have the meats, Joe.
They do have the meats, but I'll tell you something else they have, and let me tell you this. Not too long ago, I had a coupon for like 2 French dip sandwiches for $5, $6. I used to love those things, man. So I went in there, got 2 of those suckers, and housed them, man. But the deal was, soon after that, I got to feeling really, really bad. Like,
your
man,
stomach is not used to that.
Well, you know, but it wasn't my stomach, man. It was like I was thirsty and I was lightheaded and just didn't feel right at all. So I did a little internet sleuthing and did some like nutritional research on that particular sandwich. One of those sandwiches, 85% of your recommended daily intake for salt. 85%.
Salt OD.
Yes, and I had 2 of those. So I practically, doubled my recommended daily salt intake with 1 meal right there, basically, just like that.
Wow.
So I haven't been back to Arby's, to say the very least, to put it mildly, and I ain't going back. But with that aside, I do like me some Popeyes fried chicken.
Yeah.
You know, if I make my own fried chicken, but if I'm in a loose end and want some yard bird, then Popeyes is the way to go.
All right. I like Arby's. I had a buddy who could eat 8 beef and cheddars at a time in high school. And he was actually skinny. I don't know if he is anymore. I haven't seen that guy in a while, but man,
maybe he did.
You want to talk about housing? That guy got a house with food. For me, I guess I'll go. This is probably pretty boring. Most people say this, but Chick-fil-A. Just because I really like their spicy chicken sandwich. They're spicy. I could get just 2 of those. And nothing else. Just give me 2 spicy chicken sandwiches and. Mwah, that's good stuff right there.
What I don't understand is some people, I mean, they make those sandwiches without the pickle. Why wouldn't you want the pickle? Man, I mean, you got to have the pickle, right?
It is. That with some mayo, boom. That's all you need. Bread, pickle, spicy chicken, mayo, and you're good to go. Speaking of good to go, Mighty Joe, great stuff from you as always. Awesome questions from y'all. Until next time.